Hey everyone, welcome back to the QBIQ podcast. I'm Chet Walters. Today our guest is Glen Cuiellette, past season quarterback of the Dresden Monarchs in the GFL, the German Football League. Really a path and a stop that he never thought that he would be in, and a stop that he never thought he would make. Former quarterback at Tulane, former quarterback at Texas Southern, and really great story. Very much like the rest of our guests, taking paths and roads that they really didn't think that they would take, or not really the picture that they thought or that they painted when they were younger. So awesome to talk to Glen and learn about his path so far and the stops he's made at quarterback at different schools and now in another country, and what his journey is going to look like moving forward. So guys, enjoy the episode today with Glen Cuiellette. Of course, find us on all our social channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all at QBIQ System. Playoff time, baby. It is playoff time for all the guys that we're doing game grades with and everybody else out there, all the teams, players, coaches that are using QBIQ. Fellas, go get it. It's playoff time. Enjoy the episode today.
I was born in Los Angeles, and I really never played football until I was tackle football until I was about freshman year of high school. I played flag here and there as I grew up, but nothing serious, nothing like with the true concepts and true dynamic of the game. So I was very green when I was going in. I started out as a running back, and then safety and cornerback. I played everywhere, freshman football, trying to figure out where I fit best. And then I told the coach, hey, I want to play quarterback because I've always had a very good arm for my age. And he just tried it out. And then sophomore year, things were kind of, a little rough with the learning curve. But after that, that's when everything started picking up, and, the rest is history right now. So,
well, you're a big dude too. How tall are you?
I'm only 6 foot. No.
You're only 6 foot. All right. Well, you look a lot bigger on camera. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Oh, it's good. It's good because, I have I'm pretty solid. Like, that's the thing I find myself with.
Cool. Well, dude, that's awesome. So California is where you started, and you kind of made several different stops along your way. I know there's Tulane and Texas Southern, and had some tryouts with CFL because I saw on your little YouTube channel there. Mm-hmm. Some of the documentation and the vlogging that you're doing, which is like the thing to do for athletes now, which we'll get into. But what was the Tulane, Texas Southern? How did all that happen?
Oh yeah, well, going into Tulane, it was the only school that kind of really offered me, and I honestly was the only school that I needed. It was close to home, great education, and the situation was just perfect for me. And I knew I was going to start off low in the depth chart because they had a lot of quarterbacks, and I was behind Nick Montana, Devin Powell, and Tanner Lee. So, as a freshman coming in, that's pretty daunting, but I embraced it because I had the Ball State head coach, Coach New. He was there at the time, and he recruited me. He liked what he saw, so he gave me a lot of, motivation to come there, and he made me really excited. And at the end of the day, I went through the whole 4 years of there, and I did my part, and I did everything I could. I worked, and it just, the offense kind of turned for more of a running style, option style. So then I said, all right, well, I guess this is a time where I should, leave so I can find a better situation that fits my skill set, so to speak. And sure. So that's whenever I went to Texas Southern, and Texas Southern, that's where one of the GAs at the time at Tulane, he was at Texas Southern as a O-line coach. So therefore, that's how that all unraveled.
Gotcha, man. That just proves the point of that this game is all about relationships, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy. So what was the difference between Tulane and Texas Southern? Just culture-wise, football-wise, was there a big difference for you?
The difference was that Texas Southern obviously is not going to be at the level of Tulane when it comes to facilities and, all that kind of stuff because of the playing levels and also the division and conference they're in. Because I didn't know going in that certain conferences get more money than others. I never knew the logistics behind all of it. I'm just a player at the time. I never really dug deep on it. But once I started digging deep and actually hearing about it, because I was very close with Coach Haywood, and he would give me the ins and outs because he knew I wanted to be a coach after football's done. So he told me how everything kind of worked a little bit. And I never knew that there was budgets and all that stuff involved, like for not just the school, but just for conferences and how much money you get depending on, your performance, your deals, all that stuff. So
Sure.
I never knew that. So therefore, like I was surprised whenever my ignorance was kind of debunked whenever I went there, and I just kind of wasn't. It's not like it was bad. I mean, it just wasn't like Tulane, because not everywhere is the same. That's what I'm trying to
Sure.
get at. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it was just different, and but I still enjoyed my time there. I mean, we unfortunately couldn't really get any wins the last season, and it was a struggling program, but we're trying to turn it around, and I'm still supporting them as we go. I still have teammates, but it just was very different when it come to the culture and how things were ran when it came to the administration and stuff like that. But I wasn't really a part of that, but that's all I heard.
Sure.
But that's
Yeah.
pretty much what the difference was.
Gotcha. And so Tulane first, then Texas Southern, and then what kind of happened? What kind of happened after that? So did you get like a master's at Texas Southern, or what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted to get my master's, but then it was a lot of conflict between staying in the, I believe it was a spring semester. Yeah, spring semester that I had to stay and finish. And I wanted to work out and prepare for the, pro days and everything, the draft prep. And because I mean, I felt like it was possible. And I mean, you might as well give it a shot. So I didn't want to have that intrude with my training, because I didn't know anybody in Houston that did any training, and I like to keep it close with people that I've been knowing, familiarity.
Sure.
So that happened. So therefore, I mean, I took my classes. I got a lot of credits for it and stuff like that. I mean, I could probably finish up in a semester or so. So I can always go back and do that whenever I'm in, as a GA. But yeah, like I didn't really get my master's, but after I got done with Texas Southern, I kind of just made a decision with myself. I sat down and said, all right, do you really want to chase this or not? And then I said, of course I want to chase it. So then I said, okay, then we got to make all the right moves, or just make moves really, just to get to a better situation than just sitting at home and be a workout warrior like a lot of these guys who unfortunately fall under,
Right.
just keep on playing football, because at the FCS Bowl, I forgot his name slips me right now, but he was a director of operations at the FCS Bowl in Daytona. No, in Daytona Beach. He said, if you still have film on you, you're always relevant. If you always have film, you're relevant. So always never stop getting film. That's the best advice I ever heard. So I said, oh, that's one way to put it. So therefore, just keep trying, keep going for it. And so that's kind of how that unraveled.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I mean, you'll get into it, I'm sure, with being in Germany now, but with all these leagues overseas and all these opportunities popping up now that weren't really, that they may have been available but weren't really known about 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
it's like anybody has the option, and I shouldn't say anybody to discredit it, but really, if you've got the will and the drive that you're talking about, then you have the opportunity to go play. So when you got done there at Texas Southern, was that, and you said you were going to make a decision of, am I going to do this or not? Was that the point you were making that decision, or did you kind of know that that's what you wanted to do? You wanted to try to play at a higher level all along?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to play at a higher level. When I was just saying that, I was saying more so like, all right, you got to decide right now how you're going to commit, pretty much. You
Right.
can't say you want to do it. You got to figure out how you want to do it, how you're going to attack it, and what do you have to do first to get the snowball rolling. And I said, you got to find an agent. If you feel like it's necessary, find an agent. So that's what I did. And the rest is history. We went to all kind of like showcases and events. Went to, Daytona for that FCS Bowl. Went to Roanoke for another bowl game, and which I won MVP in, and I, never heard of that bowl game. So
which bowl game was that?
it was the HBCU Spirit Bowl.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And they're
Awesome.
affiliated with the Dream Bowl as well. That's
Yeah, yeah, dude. I coached in the Dream Bowl. Gosh, I don't know when this was. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago. What year were you there?
oh, it was this year,
Okay,
Jan
gotcha.
January, February.
How
Yeah.
was that experience for you?
Oh, it was cool seeing a different side of the country.
Right.
I'm from the South, and I've always been out west, so I never really ventured off in the middle section of the country or the like northeast or eastern coast.
Mhm.
Um, so it was different seeing all the hills and everything. So it was really cool seeing that and
Nice.
different ways of living. That was really cool for me to see, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very cool. Well, that's awesome. That's great. So you kind of brought us up to kind of present day about last January. Now you're in Germany, right?
Yeah, I was in Germany. I'm home right now for the time being, but
Okay.
right now a lot of teams are shopping around, and because it's the end of the season, we just got done like 3 weeks ago, and so right now they're trying to shop around and find out who they want to bring in, what imports and stuff like that. So it's recruiting process time, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
So, so yeah, like what was that? Because you got picked up by Dresden Monarchs in like June or this past summer, right?
yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so what was that like? What was that like? How did you get on the radar? How did that even become an option to go play overseas?
Well, whenever I first made that decision to chase going forth in a higher level, I sat down and said, all right, what are other leagues I could play in? This was way back in like November, and I found out they had German football, and I was like, I don't know, I don't remember how I found out, but I just remember I scoured the net and I found it. And I said, okay, this is a possibility. And I looked up some YouTubers, looked up the website, everything, just kind of figured out, get a feel for it. And I kind of liked what I saw, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. So then I did more research on Germany because I had no clue about Germany. Um, and I saw how Germany is honestly, a very nice, very awesome country. And I was like, dude, this is a sick opportunity. I can't believe this is available. So then I just kind of kept it on the side as I worked for the NFL and CFL. And I honestly thought I was going to go to the Saskatchewan Rough Riders because I got into a mini camp and they're showing me a lot of love and respect. And kind of the business side came into play. It was getting down to me and this other guy, and he wanted out, but that's just business. That's how it goes. It's football.
Hmm.
And then after that, I kind of was squandering around, just working out and just staying at home and trying to figure out what I'm gonna do because I missed the deadline because everybody reports in March for the German league, and so all of a sudden I'm just on a website at Europlayers.com, which is the website I used. I failed to mention that. That's a website that we use that you want to get into the European side of football, where all the European teams are on there, or majority of them, and they come and look for players on there. And I kind of just reached out to people and nobody was biting on anything. And then all of a sudden, I saw one coach online and I just said, hey, coach, if you need any help at quarterback, I'm your guy. But I know if you're not looking for players, that's fine. Just anybody who you know that needs a quarterback, just give me a call. And then all of a sudden he said, yeah, our quarterback actually just had an injury last week. How soon can he come out? And it was such short notice. And I was like, geez, okay. I was like, all right. I mean, I could come out like whenever you guys need me. Like I'm available. And then he
Yeah.
said, all right. So yeah, we'll fly you out Wednesday. And this was like a Sunday. And then I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to Germany. And I told my parents, I'm like, hey, I'm going to Germany. And they're like, what? And I said, yeah. They're like, there's no time to do vacations. There's no time for all that. I was like, no, I'm playing in Germany. They're like, what? Really? There's Germany, there's football in Germany. I said, yeah, there's a whole league out there. It's pretty respectable. It's the best in Europe, I believe. And then he goes, yeah, okay, well, that's awesome. And the rest is history, It was very fun.
Dude, that is awesome. I mean, what a just like a pivotal moment, right? A
Yeah.
change of really of everything for you just messaging that coach and putting yourself out there and dude, how awesome is that?
Yeah, it was like it's literally when I look back on it, like a couple months ago, when it happened, it's such a short, like a lot of things happen, is what I was trying to say. Is like, I let the tryouts and nothing happened, tryout, nothing happened. Then all of a sudden I'm just home for like a month or so, a couple of weeks, and then that happens, and then all of a sudden I'm in Germany,
Right.
In June. And I'm there for the whole month. I only played one game, played a great game, the first game against a playoff team that was undefeated, and we lost by 3 points. They returned a punt back for a touchdown later in the game when
Hmm.
time winding down. And then the next two games I didn't play because the starter came back, and I kind of just bide my time, just enjoying the moment and just enjoying the opportunity to practice football against bodies. That's what I really missed. That's what you need as a quarterback. That's crucial. I never realized
Yeah.
how crucial that is. You could go out in a field and throw with your guys, but it's different when you have 7-on-7, 11-on-11, obviously, and that's the big time. Like that's what I looked at. I said this is crucial for me to keep on my skills and keep everything sharpened in my craft.
Hmm.
Because this will help me get better regardless.
Yeah.
To process information faster, the whole 9 yards, right? And so yeah, like I mean, they didn't tell me it was only a month contract, and after the end of the month, they kind of said, "All right, we kind of want you back." And so then I said, "All right, yeah, I'll come back. Yeah, I love that." And then other teams were coming after me at the time because I had one great game that was really good, and everybody was impressed by it. The team that we played wanted me, and another team that won the German Bowl, they were looking after me. So it opened
Which
up
team
a
was
lot of
that?
doors. Braunschweig, the
Okay.
New Yorker. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It opened a
Dude,
lot of doors for me. And
that's awesome, man. I mean, like, what a change in everything it sounds like. I mean, even just you telling that, like, uh just totally different enthusiasm where you just got basically just told, "Hey, come to Germany to play football," and all of a sudden now these other GFL teams are looking at you, and there's competition, and
yeah,
you're honing in on your skills, and you're getting video like that one coach told you. I
yeah,
mean, it just sounds like everything was kind of, the boxes were being checked almost, and you were getting all the things that you wanted.
yeah. It's kind of surreal a little bit when I look back on it. But then again, I also say that's just me following directions, like following what I knew is needs to be done. Just taking care of business, not getting distracted, just taking care of business. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen if you just follow the course, and things will
Yeah.
open up. So I mean, don't get discouraged with time because impatience is really the key of fear and insecurity. That's what that
Hmm.
is. So you have to be patient in the process. But
That's a great point.
but
So
yeah, like,
it's got to. It seems like throughout all these different changes and these different moves and all these obstacles and ups and downs, has there been something, or like, do you like, how do you deal with all that? Is there like, do you write out your goals, or do you have a method to kind of work yourself through and stay level amongst all this up and down roller coaster stuff?
yeah. The what I like to do. I mean, if you check on I don't have many of them, but I posted about a book that I read or that I read or that I'm reading. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm reading this current book about it. It's on my Instagram. But I read a lot of books on my spare time, and I just stay away from social media too much because people get that feeling of, oh, this guy's doing something, that guy's doing this, and they kind of feel insecure or something. Social media has that aspect. So especially whenever you're striving for something that's very lofty, like this.
Right.
So I just kind of keep a level head and just keep reading books. And I read books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it even says in that book, like it literally gets down, like it hits everything that you kind of feel at the moment or that you ever felt before as a football player. And it's for everything in life. It's broad. It's very broad on like, its application, but it talks about desire. You can't have a goal that you want to achieve without desire. And then it says persistence is another thing. You have to keep being persistent on what you want to get and what you want to strive for. And it has a story in there that if you read it, talking about 30 or 3 feet to gold, where just a story about a guy who was a driller. He was mining. He was looking for like a pot of gold, like not pot, but like a whole mine of gold filled with like millions of dollars worth. And he quit and he sold his items to some other guy. The other guy got some guy to calculate where the mine would be, and it's like, oh, it's 3 feet that way. He dug it, found gold. So the method of that
Wow.
story was don't quit because you're so close. And that's kind of what I
Right.
say.
Or like find a, just because this specific way is not working,
Mm-hmm.
find another way. or
Exactly.
try something else or move 3 feet.
Hmm.
That's that's great.
Yeah, it's all about perspective and keeping just like your imagination, like your imagination or how you can apply it in metaphors to help you get by. And because there are going to be times that you feel like, oh man, like is this even worth it? Like, all this kind of stuff, but you're going to question it. But if you just keep sticking with it, the benefits are way more, it's just worth it for me.
Right. No doubt. So the season's over right now, right, in Germany?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is this time for you now? You're back home. Are you talking to other teams? What's the current
Yeah.
time that you're in?
Yeah. So, honestly, like I said, this whole thing opened a lot more doors for me looking back because it's been a whole year since I made that decision that I talked about after Texas Southern. So this is a month that has been the whole year. And looking back on it, I said, wow, like I had only one agent that wanted me after people that saw my film. And now I have, an agency that I just signed with that helps with, sports management, and they have connections with NFLPA certified contract advisors and such like that. All these agents that are certified, and also, all these teams in Europe, they want me. Like it's crazy because I had about 15 offers, I believe. It's like I had a couple from Serbia, a couple from France, one from England, and then another one from I believe it was Italy, and then 5 or 6 from Germany. So I mean, all of this like they just come from everywhere, and it was crazy. And off of that same website, Euro players. So
Yeah.
it's
Dude,
all
you're like the top free agent going on right now. Everybody's
yeah.
trying to get after you.
It feels like that because that's, I mean, even the German Bowl, that's what they call it, the German Bowl. That's like a Super Bowl for them. And the team that won it, they're trying to get me, and we got a call at the end of this week with it. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how just how things kind of just changed. You went from not knowing, now you have more, more like what's the word, like a solid knowing of what's going on, or
Okay. Yeah.
more foundation
Yeah.
on where you're going to go. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
For
crazy
sure.
how much that changed.
So what would be like blue sky best case scenario for you? You got all these 15 teams looking for you or talking to you or interested in you. Where do you want to be? What would be the best case scenario for you, in your opinion?
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, Germany is a great place to go and play, but at the end of the day, my goal is NFL, CFL level, and right now I'm even talking to CFL scouts and trying to get film to them and stuff like that. And whenever their season's over, that's going to pick up even more, and they're going to have tryouts and stuff. So therefore, scouts, my agents have been telling me that scouts, they know about me, they've seen my film and stuff, and or like they've heard about me or some regard like that, and they just it's opening up more doors because last year they had no clue who I was because I went to a tryout and I was doing really well, like I was throwing the ball very well, putting it in great spots, and the coach said, he's like, what's your name, son? And I said, told him my name, and then he kind of just said, where are you from, like what school? I said, I went to Tulane, but then I was at Texas Southern last season. And he said, I was like, I don't know why, like I can't get any information on you. I was like, he's like, I never, like basically saying I never heard of you, like type of thing. And I was like,
Right.
well, I'm like, that's crazy. Like how they don't even know, like there's so many, and I put it in perspective, like there's so many players. And honestly, like I didn't have the best season at Texas Southern. I battled some injuries and stuff, and it was a tough, program we're trying to turn around and stuff, all that, young players that are playing and everything. So
Yeah.
it was tough. But it's just weird how that's all turned around now. And it's a whole year later. It's kind of a Kurt Warner kind of story, that I'm trying to go for.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a great dude, that's a great comparison. So obviously, well, I mean, we're QBIQ, so we always talk about the IQ part of the game and the IQ part of being quarterback. And really loved some of the things you were saying earlier about, um, the books that you're reading and the things that keep you grounded so that you can strive towards your goal. Bring it into a football perspective, and even more specifically as a quarterback, how important has it been for you to be consistent between the ears?
It's been very important for me because I noticed that it's all mental. Like, sure, it's mechanics, sure, it's everything else, and everybody's going to say the same thing. It's all mental, but I never understood that until I saw it, with my performance. Because first year at Tulane, I was struggling with the playbook. We had plays like that were just like a whole 2 sentences long, and
Give us
it
one. You can give us one if you can remember.
it was like Falcon left Nasty, 383, dragon kill, rod 34 base on yellow, ready break, like stuff like that. And then there was
Yeah.
another one that was very long, which I can't remember. Like we had, like it was so long where we had to do the wristband, the self coach cards on the wristband, and yeah, it was crazy out there like for that. And my mind was spinning. I was just throwing picks left and right as a freshman. I was just going at it, man. I was a whole mess. And then the year I decided to just calm down when I started just, getting settled and put things in perspective. I was like, there's only 11 guys on the field. That's what I said. And I said, if you just minus the D line, there's only 8 guys in coverage if they're odd, 7 in coverage if it's even front. And if they blitz somebody, that's only 6. Like you got to just put it in perspective. That's when I was like, okay, like it's fine. It's easy. Then I noticed things got easier and easier, like, cause just changing my perspective, cause you get overwhelmed when you're out there seeing all these big bodies out there. But
Sure.
when you start just calming down and just thinking about it, like, hey, they're not superhuman. We're quarterbacks. We're smarter than them. That's what I like to believe. And I got that chip on my shoulder to think that. And hey, like you could put the ball in certain spots that they can't get. So, and only receivers can. So that's what I started saying. And also I just kind of just told myself, just calm down, just play, study, look at film and trust what you see. And, things just kind of unfolding for me. It was like everything was just coming together and it felt good because like you said, just being consistent with that, with your mindset and just not overthinking the game is a big part. That's a
Right.
big thing with young quarterbacks that I suffered and I see a lot of other guys suffer. So
Sure. Yeah. Kind of getting thrown into the fire and getting super overwhelmed, and your mind starts racing. Then you kind of become illogical almost. You're not thinking clearly. And so that's super cool. I really like the way you said, based on the odd or even, there's only 7 or 8 guys that could be in coverage. Is there a process? Obviously, what we do at QBIQ, right? We look at body language and we identify our safety to corners and all those things. And was there a process for you, or has there been throughout your playing career, of what you're looking at to identify coverages?
yeah, I was always taught to go look at first find your safeties. That's what I do first. I find my safeties. I look at what they're doing. I see where are they standing at. So if they're outside of the hash marks, both safeties too high, and they're outside the hash marks, I'm like saying, okay, it's most likely going to be some kind of cover 2, or if that corner is pressed hard, it might be some kind of corner blitz potentially. But mainly, let's keep it simple: cover 2, some type of cover 2. And all of a sudden, if they rotate, then I know at the snap of the ball or by your cadence, you could tell if they're going to rotate by body language. And then if I see rotation, depending on the route concept, I work away from it. If it's a hot read, I could throw to it. And then, so depend on the type of blitz or rotation with it, because there's a lot of various things that, play. There's a lot of, different things, scenarios. But that's what I look for, safeties. And after the safeties, I look at the corners, see how they're playing, because I could get a cheap, easy 5-yard out, 5-yard hitch, whatever it may be if they're off. And after that, I just kind of find my nickel, the nickel backer. I see where he's at and see how he's playing. If it's zone, I know it's zone. Like he's either like he's not looking at the guy, he's not staring at him. And if it's a linebacker, I know it's zone pretty much. They're hardly ever going to put man unless he's some freak athlete. That's all pregame, But that's all game planning. You know that before. But if he's some linebacker, I know it's going to be man. I mean, zone most of the time, but if it's like a corner, if I know it's a nickel, it definitely is going to be some type of man, that they're going to put in or something like that, or just little things like that. So, and that's usually for passing downs. But I mean, you got ready to like get into it and go all deep into it. I'm like, I love talking about this kind of stuff, but that's really what I look for, just safeties. And after my safeties, I look for the nickel backer if there's more, if there's another defensive back there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at cornerbacks and just kind of just see what I'm looking at. But mainly it's just the safeties that I look at. They kind of tell you everything. So
No doubt.
when they're aligned, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, it's in the QBIQ book, and we talk to all the guys that we work with, right? I mean, they're going to be lined up within inches of their post snap responsibility, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, they can fool you to a certain degree. They can show you one thing and do something else, but they
They are
have to be so close to what their post snap responsibility is because they have to go take care of that.
Yes, they are very concerned that they don't ever, their coach, honestly, I heard one of my defensive coordinators say, don't ever disguise till you're out of position. Don't ever do that. He said, never disguise too much where you're out of position. Like, you can never do that. Like, if you're supposed to be like, obviously they won't do this, but if you're like supposed to be taking a deep middle third, you can't just be at like in the box, like somewhere like on the line of scrimmage, act like you're about to
Right.
blitz. Like, you can't do that. So it shows you what they're about to do. And it sounds so much whenever we're talking about it, but once you get more and more reps at it and seeing it, it becomes more clear. Because I can't watch football now as a normal fan like I used to, because I just sit there and look at everything. I look at the safeties. I look at the linebackers and everything. I look at the D line, how they're lined up, and the shades and all that.
Dude, I totally agree. It's like I can't even go to a barbecue anymore and watch the game with the friends. It's you look at it totally differently.
Yeah, then when someone tries to say something like, "Oh, they have an out route here," I'm all like, "Oh, I don't know if you would throw an out route against press man like that, especially a 5-yard out route." Like, I mean,
I'm like, dude, go get me another burger, and I'll keep
yeah.
talking. That's good stuff, man. And so, obviously, like from Tulane to Texas Southern is still big time college football, and then moving over to Germany. Has there been any difference with any of that? Is style of play or competition? I mean, GFL is definitely the highest level
Mhm.
in really overseas football, I think. But has there been any change in that? Is the competition level still pretty high?
Yeah, I mean, it's not obviously like it's definitely not as NFL CFL level. No disrespect
Sure.
to it, it's not. But it is amongst a level that's comparable, like depending on what team you're playing. So if you're playing one of the lower end of the team in the standings of the conference or the whole league, then it's going to be like playing, I don't know, like if you're a Division 1, like FBS team, a bowl team, like a Power 5, it's like you playing a division, like I guess FCS school, if the best comparison. But if
Sure.
if it's a playoff team, it's like the playing field's level more, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So it all just depends on who you're playing. But there's a lot of good
Sure.
players out there and good teams. So it's you. The point is like it's kind of a wild card that you never know. So you always got to be prepared. And
Right.
I mean, you just can't take it lightly because once you do that, obviously as a quarterback, that's whenever you get you're in trouble. If you take things
Yeah.
lightly, that you'll miss a lot of details, and it will show it in your performance.
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, so you've got this a few calls or a few meetings coming up here pretty soon with some of these teams over in Europe still. I know the goal is still CFL, NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I would just please keep us updated. This was a awesome conversation. Great to learn about your story and what you're doing and it's awesome stuff. Obviously, I think we connected on Instagram, or I saw stuff on Instagram or YouTube, or one of those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, please keep us updated. It's so interesting to hear where you're going to go next.
Yeah, if you want to, if you want to hear something that's really going to trip you out, they got leagues and they got a league called the X League in Japan too.
Yeah,
Like they have that. They have it in Austria as well. That's like the second kind of close, like tied with the German league, and they got obviously the Italian league. They got Spanish league, and also they
dude,
got
it's crazy.
Brazil. Like it's all over the place, and
It's
it's
so
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah, it's puts in perspective how much football is more than just the United States
Oh
culture.
yeah,
It's
oh
crazy.
yeah,
It's very humbling to just see that.
no doubt, and that's a great way to put it. It has totally become a global culture, a global community.
Yeah.
And it's great to see, like, you see some of these videos of some of the leagues or some of the teams in Europe where honestly, some of those dudes should not be playing football, but
Yeah.
it's so cool to say, dude, they're a fan. They're a fan of the game and they're a fan of the sport. And anybody that's a fan and an ambassador of the sport, I'm on board with.
That's the thing about the GFL. Like the fans and the players there, they're second to none. Like it's kind of brings back the high school feel of it.
That's
How
awesome.
high school, you just have all your friends and everything. Like everyone just wants to play for the enjoyment, and it's not because of a job or like the stakes are higher. It's just they play for the enjoyment, and it's really cool. How I mean, honestly, I could go wrong both ways. Like it could go either way. It could be great or bad because sometimes they may not care as much as you care, but at the end of the day, they provide a lot of great support and just great camaraderie while you're out there. It's just really awesome. Like you just got to experience it because it's just like a brotherly love that you have out there. Like you got make connections all over the world as well. So it's just surreal whenever I talk about it. Like
Yeah.
making friends in Germany, a kid from a small town in Louisiana, Mandeville, Louisiana, to make friends in Germany. It's just crazy.
Right? Dude,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, we got to, keep us updated with everything because obviously, this January really kind of starts the whole camp season for everybody. And we'd love to, if you're still around, would love to get you to a QBIQ camp and come out and hang and help teach some of the young guys.
Definitely.
So, Glenn, man, I appreciate you jumping on the QBIQ podcast today, and good luck with everything. Like I said, keep us updated. That'll be an awesome story to follow. And just so anybody who's listening, where can they find you? You're not a huge social guy, but where can they find you?
You're talking about social media? Yeah. So social media, you can find me on Instagram. It's going to be Glen, Glen _Cuiellette, Cuiellette 9. That's where you find me on Instagram. That's where I do most of my stuff. And if you find me on there, you could just find me anywhere and connect on any other platform. After that, just give me a message and I'll respond to you.
Awesome. Dude probably has the coolest last name in all of football right now, which is it's a tough one, but probably one of the coolest. Glenn, appreciate you jumping on, man.
No problem. It's a pleasure.